Hi, welcome to the YouTube channel of Department of Computer Engineering of Dokuz University. We have a new guest to our project series. For our project series, Mohammad BARAKAT is a PhD student, is a student in our PhD program. Welcome, Mohammad. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dr. Olash?
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting me.
That's our pleasure. We will talk about the main topic, the main domain of his PhD thesis in serious games. Please, Mohammed, just introduce yourself, and you may start your presentation.
Back again. Thank you for hosting me. My name is Mohammad BARAKAT. I'm a PhD student at Dokuz Eylül University. It's my second year. I'm working with Dr. Olash. Our thesis will be about serious games. I have also graduated from Dokuz Eylül University, my master's degree in 2020, before 3 years. I was working at recommendation system in that time. Meanwhile, I'm also full-time employee at a company called Harry. I'm a Salesforce developer and administrator. And today I will be presenting and speaking about serious games. So we may start.
Yeah, please.
Today I will do my best to introduce serious games to you, to make the audience more familiar with that term. I will give a small introduction about it. We will also speak about the benefits, types, challenges, designing, and at the end, we will speak about the conclusion. So, what's serious games? This term sounds like kind of strange, right? We have serious and we have games. So, what does this term really mean? This term was created or developed by people to make a distinction between games that are mainly for fun, entertainment, enjoyment, and for games that has a serious outcome or output. An outcome such as a social message or a marketing message, or in our case, a learning message. So serious games from a learning perspective are games that allows people to learn. If we go back to history, serious games, this term has been introduced or created in the 1970s by a gentleman called Clark Appett. He wrote a book about serious games in 1970s, before maybe 50 years. By the way, you can find his book online. You can buy it online. It's very cheap, around $1 or $2, maximum 40 Turkish lira. He has defined serious games as games have an explicit and carefully thought out educational purpose and are not intended to be played primarily for amusement. Amusement, which means fun or entertainment. So back again, serious games, they have serious output or serious outcome. The $1 million question: should we really consider serious games? I mean, does it really worth it to create or develop serious games? If we look at our traditional education system, which follows the linear model, in which everything should be in order, there should be classes, quizzes, exams. Games come in a different way. Games, they follow the non-linear scenario in which the learning process has the freedom. It can take any shape, it can be done in any way. Users or students, they have the freedom to fall, stand back again. They can look at elements in a different way. They can look at the whole process in a different way. And games, they are really well known for their fun. So games, they attract attraction of the users and audience. they motivate them to learn. Also, games, they have something which the traditional education does not have, which is called the personalized learning. In a traditional learning, we have a class, we have a teacher who enters the classroom. He treats the whole students in a similar way. But games, they can focus at the students or users in a different way. For example, my strengths and weakness points might be different from another student. My skills might be different from others. So serious games comes to treat each individual separately. Also, serious games, they follow realistic scenarios, safe and controlled environments, and lower costs compared to traditional training methods. Point 5 and 6, we will speak more about them in the upcoming slides. Before going ahead and speaking about types of serious games, first of all, we need to make it clear the difference between serious games and gamification. We can think about it like this. Gamification is more like a training course, like a serious course, which lacks maybe fun or entertainment, in which, to make this course more enjoyable, I add game-like elements to that training course. Whereas serious games, we add an educational value to game themselves. So it's very important to understand the difference between serious games and gamification. They are not the same. Now we will start speaking about types of serious games. They are mainly categorized in 5 sections: educational games, training and simulation games, health and wellness games, social impact games, marketing and advertising games. We will start by the first one, educational games. They are designed to teach specific skills or knowledge to players. We also refer to them with other term, which is called learning games. Educational games can cover a wide range of topics or subjects, such as skills, learning in new languages, which we call it language acquisition, learning math, teaching math, or history or science. And one of the big advantages of educational games or serious games in general, that they stay in the memory. So back again, compared to the traditional learning style, students may enter the room, but maybe there's zero focus. They don't, after the class has finished, maybe students does not remember what the teacher was saying in the class. But games always like motivates students or keeps these pieces of information in their mind. One example of educational serious games is Minecraft Education Edition, which is different from the original Minecraft. This game is mostly used by teachers in classrooms, which support them by tools and content for teaching. Another example for educational games is the online platform, educational platform called Compat, which helps users and audience to learn programming in an easier way, in a way which is more fun, by by giving them some challenges and puzzles that allows users to learn and practice programming languages such as Python or HTML or CSS. Training and simulation games, it's the second type of serious games. Here, games are designed to help people develop skills and knowledge through interactive practice and feedback. Most of the fields that uses training and simulation games are the risky ones. For example, military, medical training and surgery, professional development and leadership skills. The main advantages of training and simulation games, immediate feedback, also increase the confidence of the users in a different subjects and skills. Also, these games, they help us to reduce the risk of accidents, especially in a risky environments. And these games provide us with a safe and controlled environment. Example of training and simulation games are flight simulators or firefighter training simulators. As we can see, both of them risky environments. So these games, it helps the users or the trainees to develop their skills and their knowledge in these areas in a safe environment with low risk. Flight simulators, it's allow pilots to practice flying in a safe and controlled environment before launching to skies. Also, firefighters training simulators, it allows firefighters to practice responding to emergencies and also help them to develop their making decision skills to say which cases has a higher priority than other cases. Another example for training and simulation games are application called Pulse. Here, nurses can use this application to implement what they have learned theoretically in this application. The goal of the players is to identify each patient's problem, giving priority to the most serious cases and applying appropriate measures depending on each person's condition. So back again, instead of training nurses in a real life situation, a nurse can make a mistake and that mistake could be really deadly. So to prepare nurses for real life situation, it's better for them, for example, to use such training and simulation games to be more ready and to have the skills that are needed. Third type of serious games are health and wellness games. Are games that are designed to promote physical, mental, and emotional well-being. There's another term for such type of serious games. We call them exercise games, which is coming from exercise. And one of my favorite example for health and wellness games is Pokemon Go. Okay, I'm a PhD student, but I use this mobile app, this game, every day because it motivates me to work around the house, to exercise while catching Pokemons, and also it's it led the users to discover in new places. Sometimes the game makes new events around you or near you in the city. So it also allows you to socialize by going to these places, meeting new people. Second example of health and wellness games is an application called Zombies Run. It's a mobile application. Users download this application to their mobile and they do their best to run from zombies. Back again, this application motivates user to exercise, to make a workout, burning calories by running from zombies. Fourth type of serious games, social impact games. These games are designed with the goal of creating a positive social change. We sometimes call them games for change. They usually focuses and addresses a wide range of issues such as environmental, sustainability to poverty reduction, health education, politics, and more. One example of social impact games is Darfur is Dying. Darfur is a city in Sudan. This game or this series games, it raises awareness about the conflict in Darfur in Sudan and challenges players to manage resources and protect their community. Another famous and popular social impact game is Spend. It's a game that simulates the experience of living in poverty and challenge players to make difficult financial decisions. Last type of serious games is marketing and advertising games. The aim of this type is to promote a particular brand or product or service in which big companies, maybe like Burger King or McDonald's, they want to promote their product to the users or make them more familiar to the users. They do this by using marketing and advertising games. One of them is Burger King. They have a game called Sneak King, in which users, by using the king, they do their best to serve burgers to hungry customers in a stealth mode. Another example is Lego Island, a game that features Lego bricks and characters and promotes Lego brand and products. And the last one is also like Burger King. McDonald's also has a serious games that let users to highlight environmental and social impact of fast food productions. They allow them to create virtual McDonald's franchise. We spoke about the 5 types of serious games. It's time to think or speak about the challenges that we might face before creating or developing a serious game. The first and the most important one is we should do our best to balance the fun factor with the educational value. We don't want this game to be just a video game. The video game is a game which has only one purpose, which is entertainment and fun. We don't want to increase one value to the other. And at the same time, we don't want that serious game to be a training course, or a gamification, just which has knowledge, information without fun. Second challenge, before I should start thinking about building a serious game, I should think about the platforms that I will be using, or the platforms that my users will be using. Will my serious game, will it run online or offline? Should it be a desktop application or mobile application, or even some which is we are thinking in my thesis to run our serious game using virtual headsets. Third challenge is about circumventing high costs. There's 2 sides in this point. We should think about whether we should use online platforms, open source, out of charge, free of charge, or low cost online platforms, or whether we should build our serious game from scratch. If we will go to the first option, okay, we have reduced the costs maybe of producing or developing a serious game, but at the same time, maybe customization might be really difficult. Also, thinking about starting from scratch while building a serious game might be really like complex and hard and might take another way. Also, before starting building a serious game, we should think or figure out the desired learning outcomes. I should write down, like, when we register for courses at university, we always see the objective or the outcomes from these courses. Serious games should have the same way, like what we are expecting from users or students to have accomplished after they have finished our game. And I think this is the most important and the first step in creating a serious game. Also, whether our deployment and development of serious game, should we follow the traditional one, the long and boring theory, or should we design bite-sized models in which we will focus at each objective alone and each key concept alone? Also, we should create the right game environment as a 6 point. We should do our best to let the user feels like he's the center of the story, and like the levels should be moved from one level to another in a seamlessly way without noticing. Also, we should create personalized learning paths. As we have spoken before, one of the benefits of serious games is personalized learning, and we should emphasize at this point while creating a serious game, I should not treat all the users and all the students the same way. Every student is unique. Every user has a different strength, weakness, and skills. And the last point in the challenges of serious games are collection of data, collecting data. Serious games actually provide a way to collect data in an easy way. We can really immediately, in a traditional learning, there's quizzes and exams, and teachers, they have to take back the papers, correct them, and then provide the students with their scores or their grades. Here it's much easier. In serious games, after the user is done maybe from one level to another, or if the game is totally over, we are able to collect the data immediately, and we should use it in a good way to improve it in the future. So while speaking about the challenges of serious games, now we have maybe a clear vision how or what are the main or the most important steps in designing a serious game. First of all, we should make the learning objectives very clear. We should indicate what we are expect from our users, from our students. We should also think that who are our target audience, for whom we are creating or developing this serious game. Is it for students? Is it for teachers? Is it for employees at a certain company? The game mechanics and rules, which is more about development and coding, the feedback system, and finally statistics and narrative, in which how the story and the flow of the story in a serious game. These are the most important steps that we should follow while designing a serious game. So in a conclusion, we can see that serious game has many benefits and have a great potential in education, in training, in simulation, because of the points that we have spoken about earlier. By combining the power of play with the goals of education, serious games can create a meaningful and engaging experience that inspire positive change. This is for today. Thank you for listening. I did my best to make the audience more familiar with serious games. We spoke about the benefits, challenges, and the types.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Olash.
Thank you, Mohammed, for your presentation. We have several questions in here. Especially, you had some answers to these questions through your presentation, but it's a good chance to clarify something with these questions. For example, why isn't this presentation in the form of a serious game from Alireza Arvaş?
Alireza, he's one of my closest friends. We used to study master's degree together. That's why I'm telling him my best records from here. Because we are still in the process, Alireza. We are still learning and investigating and making a research and development about serious games. But I promise you that one day I will make such content in a serious game fashion.
I think we may also add some interaction part. There is there is a low possibility to have some interaction in our presentation in YouTube. Because of this, we may also think that this is not a serious game.
Yeah.
This should be a regular presentation rather than a serious game. Maybe we may say this also. And an idea, I think there shouldn't be a competitive ranked modes in the games. I think rank system affects badly to people, especially to teenagers. Yes,
Saleh?
we have socially some change in our generations, between our generations, and some generations have bad habits on competition, and some have some bad or good effects on competition. What do you think about this idea? Or
Saleh, I don't really agree with you. Unfortunately, I disagree with you. Maybe you should look at the positive side. Competitive ranked modes, it encourages people and motivates them to go further and to maybe practice more, or yeah. So unfortunately, I disagree with you. We should think about it as a way of motivation and encouragement, like to motivate people to do something.
Maybe we may also talk about the competition part or the learning paths, as you said in your last slides. You may also prepare the motivation part wrong, and this may badly affect the competition.
Maybe,
badly
yeah.
affect. Maybe the motivation way is wrong for this generation or for the target audience.
Me and you, maybe we have grown up, and and our generation is maybe too much different from them. Maybe we think in a different way. We have
too
different.
old. We are too old for
We
the
are not
games
that
now.
too much old, but maybe we are looking at things in a different point of view.
And we have another question. What about esports games? Does it belong to any of the categories you mentioned? Can we say an esport game is a serious game, or can we use an esport game for a serious game?
Yes, hello, Onur. Of course, esport games, especially FIFA, they are considered as a serious game, especially the last type, which is advertising. Think about it like this: while you are playing FIFA, the game itself, it's making an advertisement for the FIFA itself. So yes, they are considered as a serious games and the last type of them.
Thank you. And we can think over the game industry. Sedat asked us, it looks like this field of game industry is related to many game technologies such as VR and AR, augmented reality and virtual reality, or basically based on Minecraft, as you mentioned. What do you think about the opportunities in them as a profession?
Here, when we use the VR or the AR, here we are trying to create a virtual environment in a real environment. Here, we are trying to maybe the outcome or the output of such serious games in such related fields maybe have a higher output or a higher effect, because here we can reach users on an emotional level. Maybe it's hard to do such a thing in a normal serious games that uses maybe mobiles or web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, or desktop applications. So yes, of course, while using such technologies such as VR, virtual reality headsets, or AR, here we are doing something that the other platforms are not able to do, which is reaching users and students on emotional level. We can motivate them more.
And we can also use them for increasing our experience in some
Sure.
works.
Sure.
VR and AR may be very useful for these serious games.
Yeah, example, there's maybe, we spoke about it maybe before, like serious games that do their best to like describe or speak about some kind of illness. While using VR or AR, it will maybe be much easier for students or maybe patients to understand or gain more information about that kind of sickness or illness. Maybe, for example, depression. They might play some kind of music in the background, maybe black or backgrounds also that maybe tries at least to give sense what depression is.
Yes, thank you. And some addition, rank mode is okay when everybody is equal. That's the thing we said, that the important thing is specifying the target audience. But I think there is no equality between genders, social groups, education background, and technological infrastructure. Yes, that's
Yes,
the thing we also talk about this.
Yes, you're totally right, Adariza. And that's why serious games should really focus and consider about personalized learning, in which, back again, every user should be treated in a unique way.
And we need a very good, very effective design process for
course.
having a serious game. That's why we need this. And about FIFA is an esports game, but calling all esports games advertisement games by taking that as an example seems wrong to me. Games like LoL or Overwatch are completely their own entity. Yes, and
You asked for an example, and I just I just gave you one example. So maybe you are correct. Thank you for correcting me. Not all of them. I will give also another example to Nur, not in the area of esports. Need for Speed. Like most of us were playing this game. Okay, maybe it's not a serious game because there's like it's more about fun enjoyment. There's like no serious output, but if we think about it in a different way, Need for Speed, they sometimes promote some cars for BMW or other brands for cars. They also show their parts. So yes, it can be considered as a serious game, which try to promote some brands and also the parts for these brands.
Thank you. As a conclusion, we may say that the main difference is having fun or having serious outputs from a game. I think that's the main output, the main difference between funny games and serious games.
Serious games.
And the very important part of having a serious game is the design part, design step of a serious game process. I think that's the very important part, or the most important part of a serious game.
Yeah, they have a different structure from normal video games.
Yeah. And I also want to show a thank you.
Thank you, Yasser, for listening and joining.
As I know, Yasser is a student of our third class. No, isn't it? Do you know Yasser Alasan? Is he a friend of you? No, you don't
unfortunately. No, I don't know him.
As I know, he's from our third class. It's
so
good
maybe it will
to
be a
have
pleasure to meet him maybe one day
yeah.
face to face at Dokuz Eylül.
Yeah. Yes, Yasser is from our third class. Yes, from our bachelor program. And Sedat wants to add something. I just want to add something. I participated in an ideathon last year. Our goal was improving customers' habits about paying bills or using apps of Turkcell. We were fifth as a group. But I want to talk about the first one.
So they have used the serious game to improve maybe the skills or develop the skills of their customers.
They created a game which you can pay bills and make some duties in it, and Turkcell liked it.
That's really nice.
Maybe
Yeah,
a serious game.
we consider it as
that's a good example of a serious game. We
So
need
see
to
that?
give some new habits, new challenges, and we want to affect their habits or affect their manners, affect their ideas.
So maybe here we are speaking about social impact serious games, which is the last type of serious games, in which they maybe, I think, Sedat and his team, they try to make a social impact or change the behaviors of the customers or the users, or maybe let them develop some certain of skills.
Yeah.
And if Sedat, is he a student at Dokuz Eylül University?
I'm not really sure.
So maybe we can meet him one day face to face if he is.
Yeah. You may also communicate through LinkedIn,
Of course,
I think, or you may access to me, and I may prepare a meeting between you.
It will be a pleasure.
I remember that Sedat is also a student of us, but I'm not really sure, and I don't want to be wrong. I'm wrong. Sedat, kusura bakma. İsim tanıdık ama that's the problem of distance learning. Yeah,
hocam siz neler öğrenciler gördünüz. Tabii ki normal, isimler belki aklınızda kalmıyor.
We are very old for the gamification and also remember all the students. Sedat is also a student in our class, in software engineering class. Yeah, he's also a third grade class. Yeah, you may also have a meeting with Sedat or Yasser.
Yeah, we can look at what they have done. Yeah, and we can speak about our experiences together.
And thank you for your presentation, Mohammad. Do you want to add something? Do you have some additional comments?
I also thank you for hosting me, and I hope that most of the users who were listening to us has now a more clear definition for serious games.
Thank you. I want also thank to our listeners because you're present, because you're joining us, and if you want to follow us on Instagram, or if you want to follow us on our YouTube channel, you may also find some new live things or new videos on our YouTube channel. And I want to say you a very goodbye and have a healthy day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.